Mac, I just created this. It's called a Would You Rather.
Oh, all right. So explain this to me.
I'm going to say two different things.
Okay.
Two different scenarios.
Sure.
You will then tell me which scenario you prefer.
All right. Got it.
I don't like to toss the hero word around a lot.
All right.
But I'm not going to do it here. Mac is a public servant.
I am. Civil servant.
Shut the fuck up. If you were on the street, walking down the street, stomping the yard, as you would say.
That's what we call it in the biz.
Would you rather someone walk up to you and say, "Hey, man, you saved my life," or, "Hey, man, I listened to your podcast"?
So, if I save someone's life, I'd probably have a pretty good idea of who they are. And so I don't know if I'd get a surprise, "Hey, you saved my life." But maybe in 20 years, who knows? When someone says they're a fan of the podcast, which I have had genuine encounters with, I enjoy it. I welcome it. Someone says I saved their life, I might cry. So if you want to see me cry, maybe tell me that.
So you prefer I listened to your podcast over you saved my life?
I'd have a lot more questions if you told me I saved your life and I didn't know about it. So yeah, maybe the podcast one.
You're going to ask me the same question?
Q.
Yeah,
when
what's up?
you are routinely stomping the yard, what would you rather hear? Someone telling you that they listen to the podcast or someone telling you that you saved their life?
Aren't they one and the same?
Part of me, most of me, knows that you came up with the would you rather just so you could answer that.
I came up with the end before the question.
Step one, you say you need to talk.
No snow patrol today.
One, two, three, yeah! Jaws 3. King of Queens. Meryl Streep. Entertainment.
I'm Goo.
And I'm Mac.
And we're the Mac and Goo program, bringing you our 50th piece of content. That's a lie. We have a lot more. But Marvel has 50.
Yeah, the MCU just crossed a threshold. They are now in the 50s in terms of entries into the MCU. Technically more if you would like to include What If, those 2 seasons, 3 seasons. I don't include them. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is technically a venture into the MCU, but it's sort of like, to still a DCEU term here, it's sort of like an Elseworlds type of thing. And then Goo thinks that X-Men 97 is in the MCU, but he's the only one.
No, I have a question mark at the end. That's me asking a question. Like, would you rather save a life or get a podcast listener?
The creators of X-Men 97 have specifically said it is not a part of the MCU. So this Goo, today we're talking about Ironheart, the 13th MCU TV season, and the 50th the 49th. I think it's 49th. Sorry. Because it's 36.
What the fuck? You just ruined the whole first part of the podcast.
It's 36 movies. 36 movies. So that's plus 13 is 49. So let's include What If in there. What if?
Let's include one of the other ones that we said didn't matter.
What if we included What If so that we're at number 50?
Then we have 50.
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah. Fucking did it.
Bang.
Yeah. I will ask you this question, and I think this is a good question when it comes to the Marvel television shows. Okay. Did you find this to be more enjoyable or more like homework?
This was more enjoyable. And I get, so this being the 13th season of MCU television, it's a lot of seasons of television.
It's a lot of seasons of television.
And I think this is firmly in the enjoyable, not homework. I think there's 3 homework seasons outside of the 8-ish or so seasons of television that I've enjoyed to a certain degree. And then I think there's 2, one really bad one and one kind of bad one. So call those homework shows if you want. But I would say 8 of our 13 seasons of television have been worth watching, relevant, leading to stuff and enjoyable. This included.
If I had one of those charts where you have two big circles and there's like the little in-between in the middle, like a butt,
Yep.
I would have Ironheart right in the center of the butt.
Okay, fair enough. And there's not an even spread there, though, in those circles, right? For
All right, let's try and figure this. Is it called a Venn diagram?
Yes, it is.
Okay, it's a Venn diagram. Let's not get too crude or too crass here,
But
Matt.
you're the way you're sort of putting that, and not Venn diagram. Venn diagrams don't necessarily have the same size circles, but the circle of homework is surely smaller than the enjoyable one.
Yes, yeah. So as someone who does still enjoy the MCU, enjoy Marvel, there are some shows that are more homework than they are enjoyable.
Okay.
I do think that there are enjoyable parts of this show, but it almost at points felt like a placeholder just to get us to the end of the season.
See, I don't agree with that because I think this show stands on its own really well. But what I think you're speaking to a bit is the hype around certain characters and the relevancy of certain characters.
Yes.
And there is something to be said about that. And part of the reason why the hype around this show and the build up to this show was so minimal is because this is also a new character in the comics. Riri Williams didn't exist in Marvel Comics until a decade ago. She didn't become Ironheart until a year after that. So there's not this long-standing history of you and I and other MCU viewers waiting for the debut of Riri Williams, waiting for Ironheart, and growing up with this character. Those viewers don't exist.
Also, about 2 months before the premiere of this show, Disney yelled, "News dump!" and said we're going to put all 6 episodes out on 2 days. And then, when it was released, I did not see a ton of buzz around it or news around it or even, like, Disney promoting it.
Yeah, that's an issue. Promotion's an issue here. In terms of release schedule, I preferred it this way. So what we ended up doing, this debuted on Disney Plus on June 24th. We got the first, this is a 6-episode season. We got the first 3 on June 24th. The final 3 the next Tuesday or Wednesday, a week later. And I really enjoy that because it's a half binge, half build up. I almost would have preferred maybe like a 2-2-2. I like a small build, but I like being able to watch multiple episodes when I have a chance. You especially, more so than I, you're living this life. You got a family. You have a finite amount of time to watch episodes. So if that's once every 2 weeks, it kills you when it's a weekly release.
I would have preferred if we instead got, let's say, 36 15-minute episodes. And it's released out over
Don't check Goose
40
Goose
weeks.
math on that.
Don't check my math. Also, I need like a week off every once in a while.
Ironheart, like I said, Disney Plus, TV 14 action, adventure, drama, fantasy, and sci-fi. Of course, subgenre of superhero nonsense, I might say at this point. 6 episodes totaling 302 minutes. If you remove credits and whatnot, it's about 260-ish minutes of content, and that works out to 4 hours and 20 minutes of content. So what they
nice.
Toking the reefer, smoking.
That's what I was
the
doing while
doobie.
watching all of Ironheart. I was sitting there and smoking a marijuana like a cigarette and saying, "Let's fly to the stars, Riri."
So what I like about the 6-episode thing and maybe an 8-episode thing is there's too much here to squeeze into a movie, but not enough to give you like this dramatic 9, 10, 11, 12 episode season. 6 worked out pretty well for this. And I felt like episode to episode, it was pretty consistent. It never got super high highs, but I also feel like there weren't low lows either. And that what I think, and I have actually spoken to a couple people because I implored you to watch this show for the last 3 weeks. I did get a couple listeners
it was
that have
every
reached
fucking
out
episode.
and then said, "Hey, I actually really enjoyed it. Thank you for letting me know because no one's talking about it."
I enjoyed it. I don't know if I can say really enjoyed it.
I'm not going to blame someone if they didn't.
Really
You didn't
enjoy it.
re-enjoy it? Huh?
I just said that.
You didn't say it like I said it.
I kind of did.
Yeah.
I did it more like Jim Carrey, though.
You.
Really?
Speaking of enjoyment levels, we have numbers for that here. On Rotten Tomatoes, Roddy T's 77% from the critics, 48% from the audience. So the audience More than half of you said thumbs down, didn't enjoy this. As far as audience scores go, that places 11th out of the 13
That doesn't count,
seasons.
though. It didn't count.
So to give that some context, 9 of the previous 12 seasons of MCU television, from the audience, 80 to 90%. There's only 3 that fell below 80. Those were Echo, Secret Invasion, and She-Hulk. This is definitively better than those 3. So
Yeah.
it has more in common with the good MCU shows than the bad. And it doesn't even like that's a stark difference between the scores. Let's talk about
Stark. I will say I did get a feel of it kind of felt like Hawkeye.
Oh, Hawkeye was phenomenal.
No, I said it It felt like Hawkeye.
Okay, so you're saying that as a positive.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Good. I don't.
Max always is just hacking
The
me.
way you said it didn't sound positive.
Guys, chime in the comments section. Let us know. Does Goose sound positive when being positive?
On Metacritic, Goo, a 57, which is the worst out of the 13 seasons of television.
Oh.
That's confusing for me.
No, I think in spoilers we can talk about it.
All right, we'll get to that. The previous low was...
Remind me, though, because I'm not going to remember that in 12 minutes.
It's a much closer spread on Metacritic. There's a top 4 that are all in the 70s, and then everything else is in the 60s, ranging from 62, Echo, up to 69, Moon Knight and Daredevil.
Nice.
Daredevil Born Again. The critics are saying, everyone's saying, not that great. And I don't really agree because it is contextual. You have to weigh it against past Marvel stuff. And it is definitively better than at least 4, if not 5, of the MCU seasons we've gotten. So I'm like annoyed by this whole situation.
Do you think it's because people are back on the upswing of Marvel and they're like, I like what they did with Reborn. I like what they did with Thunderbolts. And then this feels too much like that Phase 4, Phase 5 stuff?
Well, this is Phase 5 and everything you just mentioned.
I don't know the
was Phase
phases
5.
anymore, so shut up.
Speaking of that, this concludes Phase 5, Goo.
I was trying to lead you into that.
Fantastic Four kicks off Phase 6. This show's created by Chinaka Hodge. They were a writer on Snowpiercer, the television series, and that has done okay. Of course, more importantly here, the executive producer is Ryan Coogler. The 2 directors we had in this series were Samantha Bailey and Angela Barnes. Each did 3 episodes. This show stars Dominique Thorne as Riri Williams. She essentially got this role because she auditioned for Shuri in Black Panther, and they loved her so much they wanted to bring her back for this and basically handed her the role. Anthony Ramos as Parker Robbins, a.k.a. The Hood. Lyric Ross as Natalie. Matthew Elam as Xavier, Natalie's brother. Angie White as Ronnie Williams, that's Riri's mother. And Alden Ehrenreich as Joe McGillicuddy. We also have a little cast of clowns here, including a clown. Eric Andre's in this as Rampage for really just
needed
2
more.
episodes.
I needed more Eric Andre.
Yeah, he didn't really do Eric Andre things. It was an interesting casting.
Honestly, but I needed him to also be more like Eric Andre.
Yeah, we needed a little more of that. I agree. Sonia Denis as Clown. Jaron Merrill as Slug. Zoe Terakes as Jerry. Shakira Barrera, that's fun to say, as Roz. Manny Montana as Cousin John. Reagan Aaliyah as Zelma, Cree Summer as Madeline, and Jim Rashgu pops up here in the first episode as Professor Wilkes.
I was also expecting so much more Jim Rash. It's in the first episode. I'm like, Jim Rash is going to be on the show. Not enough Jim Rash.
There's also, and this show has been out for nearly a month now, there's a major spoiler cameo casting note that we'll get to in the spoilers. And believe you me, I was giddy when I saw it. We'll get to that in a few minutes. Goo, like I mentioned, Riri Williams is a new character in Marvel Comics. She debuted in May of 2016 in the Invincible Iron Man series. She became Ironheart a year later, eventually got her own comic series in 2018. So she didn't even have her own comic series until a year before Infinity War, or the year of Infinity War. So that really speaks to the hype and the lack of hype and the lack of interest in this show. I just don't think people know Ironheart and Riri Williams and just assume it's a straight Iron Man ripoff. And I don't blame them for that, but it's a little annoying.
But also when watching the show, I felt like every conversation was really clunky, especially when it was Riri talking to anyone outside of her AI friend or what's his name there? I do like the main actor playing Anthony Ramos.
Yeah.
Ramos.
Yeah.
Every other conversation felt like so weirdly like it was just very hipster and stilted, and everyone's reaction to what Riri was saying, I don't know, there was just something off with the dialogue.
Yeah, but it also speaks to these characters and these people we're dealing with. We're talking like 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old dummies. Goo, you and I were both in that range once, and we were fucking dummies, you know?
But we were all different, though. Everyone in this show is the same.
Well, they built a crew to work together, so they're naturally going to be
but when you're building a crew, you get a face, you get a bod, you get a wild card. You don't just get a bunch of
they're
wild
working
cards.
towards the same goal, so that makes sense to me. A little bit about Riri. If you didn't see Wakanda Forever, she's introduced in that movie, which is, I think, is starting to get a little underrated at this point. That movie's pretty good. She's just incredibly gifted student mind in specifically math and science, really good problem solver. She's a lot like Shuri, so they sort of take to each other in that movie. She just lacks the high tech and the money to really work with.
Yeah, but that kind of made me think of this show. So she's having an issue with funding.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to build her iron suit, which, by the way, the iron suit in this looks way better than Wakanda Forever.
Yeah,
toss that out there
especially the
now.
one we get in the finale. It looks pretty sweet.
Yes, but when you're having a difficult time funding, when you're inventing stuff, why not go to Invent Help?
Goo, of the 12 seasons in the MCU, I would like to talk to
My
you.
microphone off?
I would like to talk to you about the tiers I have, and you tell me whether these are mostly accurate or not.
I've always felt, and I did no research into this, Invent Help is a scam.
I
Just
have
preying on the people that want to invent stuff.
I have Echo in a tier of its own at the bottom. You can include Secret Invasion in it. I think Secret Invasion is much better than Echo, but that neither here nor there. Above those two, I have She-Hulk, Moon Knight, and the Falcon and Winter Soldier. All had certain degrees of enjoyability, also had certain degrees of suckiness too. On the whole, I liked them more than I didn't. Then I have like this middle tier, which is really just everything that's not Loki Season 1 and Hawkeye. Miss Marvel, WandaVision, Loki Season 2, Daredevil, Born Again, Agatha All Along. And I think this fits in with that clump of shows. I think it's mostly good. Maybe lacks the high highs of some of those, but doesn't have low lows either. And then at the top is Loki Season 1, which I still think is definitively head and shoulders above everything else. But then I think Hawkeye is head and shoulders above everything else we just mentioned.
So what I would do in your tiering here is I would flip WandaVision and Hawkeye, and then in that middle, I would also put Daredevil Born Again up there just below WandaVision, and I would have that middle clumpy there. I think She-Hulk is like sniffing up the backside of that one, just a bit outside, and then I would put Secret Invasion at the bottom with Echo.
All right, but we agree on like 80% of it, right? I think that's a pretty fair ranking or tier.
Our
system.
Venn diagram, we have a lot in the middle.
Good. Before we get to the Nonagon here, I also just want to say I really enjoyed this show's creativity when introducing the Ironheart title card. I got a little kick out of that every episode as well.
Max, shall we get to the non-spoiler Nonagon?
Yeah, let's do it.
Fun factor, there are bits and pieces, but nothing is really standing out to me outside of the last half an hour of the finale.
I think, and this is why I enjoyed Agatha All Along, I like witchcraft and magic in the way in which the MCU is using it. It's kind of cheeky. It's fun. You know, they're not pulling any punches. Like, I enjoy the use of magic in this season of television. Maybe a little less than an Agatha, but I think it's kind of similar the way it gets used.
I guess if I could make one wish on this podcast, it would be that you start wearing a witch hat. Every episode, not just the Marvel stuff.
Okay. All right.
Satisfactor, that might be the best thing about the show. And I think Marvel knew that, and Marvel knew that they had to put something in here to grab some eyes. But Satisfactor is what they did best.
The finale here and the surprise cameo and extended scene here is one of the 2 or 3 best things they've done since Endgame. Now, included in that, I think, is the end of Loki season 1, the He Who Remains stuff. That introduction, that scene is phenomenal. I think you also got a lot of fun in Deadpool and Wolverine. The Spidey stuff was cool too. Expected.
Thunderbolts is
telecasted. Good. Yeah, but the highs of Thunderbolts do not match the excitement level, at least for me, in the finale of this. And it was, like you said, we were talking briefly before we started recording. There is echoes of He Who Remains and what happens in this finale. I enjoyed the fuck out of this final episode. I think the show is worth watching prior to that anyways, but I think if you're an MCU fan and you've been an MCU fan for a while, you got to watch this season of television.
Borometer, and usually while I am watching increments of a television show, when I'm done doing my task where I'm allowed to watch said show, I'll be like, oh, I want to watch more of this. I was very easily able to put the bookmark in and say, all right, I'll come back to this later.
Yeah, not for me. After the end of the first 3 episodes, I was really looking forward to the final 3, and I liked that drop once again. I thought the pacing was good, and they built up your heroes and your villains in this show pretty good, though it turns out they might all be villains.
Ooh, Halloween! Your excitement is making me too excited, even though I know what happens in this show.
Well, because of what happens in the finale.
I don't like your influence on me.
It is opening up possibilities in the future, and so then we might come back to this show, at least to that episode. And so I have a hard time feeling like this show's going to go down because we are inevitably going to come back to it.
What is next? Aquater World. I would go what's the fuck? I would go Waterworld over this.
I liked this more than both Aquaman and Waterworld. Not combined.
Pants Tent City. Excite Bike Mania. Yes, there is something that got me going, and I don't want to say it.
We'll talk about it in approximately 5 minutes.
When life gives you lemons, you say, Jesse Plemons, you did it again. Mac, who made Plemonade on this show?
Clearly, the thing we can't talk about was a massive glass of Plemonade. I also thought Alden Ehrenreich was spotted pretty well in this. He's pretty good. I really liked Riri's mom as well. I really enjoyed the scenes between her and her mother. I thought she was great. So I'll give it to her because I think she's in it less probably than Alden Ehrenreich. So let me give her proper credit. What's her name?
I didn't love Riri's mom in this.
Oh,
I thought that
Angie
she was
White,
one of the
Ronnie Williams.
I thought that she was one of the people that had, I don't know, very stale responses to Riri.
I don't agree. I thought she was pretty steadfast and consistent with her message, and I thought she's probably the best person in this season of television. One of the few good folks.
You want to give her credit too?
Max credit unit, Goo. It's going to go to Marvel Studios, the MCU. The people who had the balls to sign off on finally doing it. And I'm talking about that cameo that we're going to talk about again in a few minutes.
For those of you tardy to the Mac and Goo party, we rate everything on a 40 hot dog rating system. And yes, Mac, that cameo does save the show for me. Overall, the 5 episodes leading up to the finale, there are a couple pretty good scenes, and I do believe that it looks really good for a Marvel television show that is using an Iron Man outfit. I like the setup of episode 1 and how she has to go back to Chicago. I thought a lot of the stuff with the gang that she joins, I don't love the dialogue going back and forth. And even as, yes, we are trying to do it in this quick, heisty type of way, I just thought it was so stale in the way that they were going about it. But we do get a good look into Riri and how maybe she isn't all cracked up she isn't all as she's cracked up to be, and she doesn't have the same type of soul that some of these other heroes have when it comes to needing to save people. And it really is, maybe she doesn't have it. Maybe, since losing certain people in her lives, which I do think it does deal with PTSD very well, and how she's not able to go certain places, how she's not able to accept certain people. I do like that. I'm looking at 28 hot dogs.
Yeah, I don't like that score. That's okay.
7 out of 10.
Yeah, So you gave it a C, C minus, C plus.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fine, whatever. Goo, this show to me was
Don't talk to me like that.
consistently between solid and good. It never really got great outside of that cameo finale, and never really got under solid. I thought it was just, the heartbeat was good. And once again, I recognize it's hard to get people to care about such a new character, no established history. But what I do really like, we kind of touched upon it a little bit. I really like the idea now that these kids that are growing up in this MCU, in this world, in this universe, are envying these heroes. And we got some of that in Miss Marvel.
So that's why I kind of compared it to Hawkeye. It's the Kate Bishop.
No, it's more the Miss Marvel thing, I think.
Kate Bishop was all over that in Hawkeye, and she was the first example of it. Don't fucking step on me
Kate
like
Bishop
that.
was doing her own thing. She just happened to have arrows. Miss Marvel was envying heroes. And I think in this, you see that with Riri as well.
Go watch Hawkeye again.
I like it more than you. Don't fucking talk to me about Hawkeye.
Hawkeye's the best show we've ever seen. There we go. I'm in front now.
And I like the idea that now these people, this is like Kate Bishop, are pursuing a career in heroing. They want to do this. Because that's where this universe is at now, and that's what we're breaking into. So I enjoy that.
We'll just keep like one-upping each other. No, this is like Kate Bishop.
This show isn't groundbreaking by any means in terms of like how good it is, but through 13 shows now, 36 movies, 49, maybe 50, maybe 51 entries into the MCU. I'm kind of surprised that so many people aren't craving new characters, new stories.
The Hunter?
Like we are in Star Wars. It's a weird dynamic that we're not craving it here, but we're craving it in Star Wars. Like in this shared universe, we got a little bit different of a story here, and we got a good story. We get a story of downfall. We get a story of someone that's promised to be a hero and maybe never really becomes that hero, and maybe is a little more selfish than we're used to seeing. And I think that's pretty good. That's good storytelling. It's a little bit of a swerve than what you're expecting. So I don't know why people wouldn't seek that more. It's that much different that it's worth watching. But again, not to mention the conclusion in this season, this finale makes the season worth watching alone. The finale cameo is the best pants tent we've gotten outside of Deadpool and Wolverine stuff and outside of He Who Remains. And it could be setting up some really fun stuff going forward.
And Mac only cares about the ends of movies or TV shows, so that's why he only watches the final minute of adult films.
I think I have this at 32 hot dogs, Goo. I was going back between 31 and 32. I think I want to get the 32 in there, the B-. It's 7th or 8th in the MCU TV rankings, so it's not like it's way up towards the top, but it's in that muddied middle. It fits in with all those shows like Miss Marvel, WandaVision, Loki Season 2, Born Again, and Agatha. I think it fits in very well with that grouping, but it's not being talked about like the rest of that grouping is.
Shall we get to spoilers?
Spoilers. Goo.
What is this that stands before me?
Goo has been wanting this character in the MCU for 4.5 years now.
Since we had WandaVision. And did it fully meet my expectations? I don't know if it has yet.
Well, let me stop you right there.
Yes.
We're talking about Mephisto, obviously, Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto, which was the fan casting, which I loved, and he fucking crushes it.
The devil went down to Georgia.
So,
he's looking for a soul
the
to
Mephisto
steal.
stuff has gone, oh my God, we're getting Mephisto, it's coming. And then because we got teased too much, we didn't even want it anymore. But oddly, recently, especially after Agatha and dealing with some of that stuff, it's worked its way back. And then when we got it, I didn't know I wanted it as much as I wanted it because he's so good on screen.
He's very, very good. And like you said, it echoes He Who Remains at the end of Loki. Whereas I think at the end of that show, he just had like a 20-minute monologue.
Yeah.
It was very good. But this is very good. And I like how they play with his voice. I like how he dips in and out of an American voice, a British, a spooky voice, if you will. At first, I was thrown by the editing because mid-conversation, it would cut to a different view of him. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. But then I realized that it was a trick to see how like the person is seeing it and they're being tricked by him. But yes, I'm very happy that we have him here. And I think that this character can do a lot more in other television shows and movies moving forward.
Yep. And I think we will see, whether people are going to like it or not, we will see flashbacks to a couple characters that have made deals with Mephisto in the past.
Yes.
And that might explain why certain things have happened.
So Mephisto does mention, kings, presidents, whatever that he helped out. But one that he mentioned is a brute brawler. Is that what I picked up on that correctly, right?
It was something like that. Yeah, yeah.
So which Avenger do we think it is?
It's a good question. It's hard to say Captain America because he
wouldn't be him.
But maybe that's involved in going back to Peggy. Maybe he helps with the time travel because he can go.
I just thought, here we go. Do you think that Bruce Banner made a deal with him to become Professor Hulk, so that he could finally marry the two?
It's possible. That's possible. I also think that at some point Bruce Banner was just going to stumble upon that. I think we have to think
possibly
more secondary characters because if they do it to the bigger characters, people will be mad, right?
If it's Rhodey again, I'm going to fucking lose my mind. He's already been a Skrull, and then they're like, oh, he also made a deal with the devil.
I think it's going to be more Hawkeye, Black Widow level type, where it's the second level, maybe even tertiary characters. But there is a character in there, and I'm sure someone on the internet has drawn a good line as to why shit happened. But I'm interested to see how they play that out. And I'm also interested to see Goo going forward. First of all, they sort of tease that maybe Riri makes a deal with Mephisto, because at the end of this, we see Natalie come back in her physical form.
He physically brought someone back to life.
I'm not 100% sold that she shakes his hand. I don't know how else she would have come back, but you do have Zelma also working with Hood in the post-credit. So there is more magic afoot here, and she is a problem solver. I think that's more likely than not, but I'm not 100% sold that she actually did make a deal with Mephisto. But if she did, I'm okay with that too, because it's speaking to her selfishness, and she's not that good of a hero, right?
Okay, so two things. Number one, in the entire show, her go-to line was, I do it because I can. So maybe she does find a way to mix magic and technology to bring her friend back. Maybe.
I think it's a possibility.
But I feel like she would be someone, because she almost seems like she has no soul anyways, because she's lost her father-in-law, she lost her friend. So she's offering something that's not there.
Yeah, and I've seen some discourse online talking about if she does make this deal, that she didn't learn anything from what happened in this show.
We don't need to learn lessons,
and I think people forget that there's a lot of people that don't learn lessons, man. They keep making stupid decisions and doubling down on shit. And that's why I think Riri is actually becoming a really fascinating character for me, because she's fully in wild card territory at this point. So I'm interested to see what happens going forward with her. More so, Goo, another character that people have wanted in the MCU for a while now is Ghost Rider, who is an agent of Mephisto. There's a little bit of a theory online that cousin John, the one that Riri lets die, there's a chance that Parker uses some magic and brings him back, or
I like him.
Or cousin John comes back because he makes a deal with Mephisto and becomes Ghost Rider. So there's a little bit of maybe a setup with that as well. So I'm pretty intrigued by that.
I mean, they definitely need to find a way to keep Anthony Ramos going in this universe, so maybe it's him as Ghost Rider.
Yeah, people were talking about that too. I don't know if he would want to make another deal with Mephisto, though, right?
Maybe they flip it on its head and it's him now going after Mephisto.
Also, speaking of Mephisto and that poison and Red Lane stuff, I like the way that looks. I think that's a pretty cool way to show it.
Aesthetically, it's a nice look. Now, Mac, I do know, now, first off, there was a spoiler, too, that we get the son of Obadiah Stane in this.
Yeah, Joe McGillicuddy is actually Obadiah Stane's son, Ezekiel.
So that annoyed me, though, because that just, because it's just get back. Remember that character from that movie 20 years ago? That's his son.
Well,
it's a coworker. It's a friend.
Zeke is a character, an Iron Man villain in the comics.
Yes.
And I think it was a nice way of showing how stuff in the MCU has affected people over the years, which is why I also like I like the dynamic between him and Riri, I guess is what I'm saying. Also, the deal that Parker makes with Mephisto in the first place
I know.
He's like he basically wants to be a king, is what he's saying.
No, he wants to be greasy rich.
Yeah, it's a pretty dumb deal, and basically wants his father's company, and we see that.
If you had one wish, what would you do?
I'd probably wish for a lot of money. I'm not gonna lie.
I already made my wish that you'll wear a witch hat on the show, so I wish I didn't waste that. I have no soul now, and you still have no hat.
Parker kind of wastes his wish, but it is what it is.
On a cloak?
Another really interesting development here. I did like the cloak and the cloak technology and them studying it and how it dipping in. You know, it was a really cool scene with Zelma with, I think, her mother, or maybe it was just the person that works at the shop as well, flipping into that like other realm, and then them figuring out Mephisto's involved. And they're like, oh, get the fuck out of here. Don't get involved in this. Another really interesting development here is, so in the comics, I believe Riri's AI system is Tony Stark, or a version of Tony Stark, something like that. Correct us on that. We're not book boys. And this, her AI becomes her dead friend Natalie, or her memories of her dead friend Natalie, what she manifests, and it literally is a combination of AI and her memories. And that is a really interesting development, because that's not quite magic, but we're teetering on a line where this show muddies up technology and magic to a point that I'm really interested, because I don't, for better in this instant, I don't fucking understand how anything is really happening or working.
And I do like in this show where her brother was like, that's like, get that out of here. But then Riri's mom is like, can you make me one? So, like, you did get both sides of it.
Yep. And we didn't speak about him much at all. Xavier, he's pretty good. He pops in here and there. He's like a moral compass for Riri, I guess. Riri also lets Cousin John die. And we also haven't seen much of this from our MCU heroes. That was an interesting one. And it's really just showing this path and highlighting this path that Riri's going down, making poor decision or questionable decision after decision. And that obviously culminates maybe in the end with Mephisto. And in that post-credit goo, we get the Hood, Parker, recruiting Zelma and her magic. And we've seen she's self-taught and kind of knew this, but already pretty powerful. In the comics, I think she's an apprentice of Doctor Strange. She's involved in Strange Academy. I liked how she like works the magic or that realm power into the final Ironheart suit. I didn't love that Natalie just has to go away because the magic's in the suit. That didn't really make sense to me.
I would love the magic power, and she kind of has it, where you're able to turn regular M&Ms to peanut M&Ms.
Well, Zelma turns ketchup back into cherry tomatoes. You see that little sleight of hand thing? That's pretty good.
But like I'm saying, if I had one candy power, that's what it would be.
One candy power would be turn regular M&Ms into peanut M&Ms.
I just fucking said that.
I'm recapping what you said. That's what you said.
Yes.
That you would waste your candy power on that.
If I had one candy power, yes. What would you do with your candy power?
I would have the ability to make candy bars cold that taste better cold, immediately cold.
Okay, so then you just have like freezing power. That's not really a candy power. Well, you're just Iceman. You're fucking Bobby Drake.
Pretty good decision on my part then.
What can you do? I can freeze all this stuff, and I can make this candy bar really cold.
Goo, also in this, and in their investigation into Parker's cape, Dormammu gets brought up. Caecilius is mentioned, and
I did like that part.
And they're very aware of all this shit, especially her with magic. That also was like, that was the fake out, right? Like, it's not going to be Mephisto. It is going to be Dormammu or Caecilius, and then we get Mephisto. So I liked getting knocked out a peg, and then it really was.
I am curious, though. So I think that maybe they were holding off on Mephisto, storytelling reasons possibly, but I think in certain countries you can't show the devil. But if you don't call him the devil and he doesn't look like the devil, does that not count?
I think you're good in that respect. And we did get that little shot of him in the...
We're just guessing, by the way.
We got the little shot of him in the spoon where he was sort of in his devil form.
Yeah.
I also... it's certainly with the Darkhold and Wanda, Mephisto could have been brought in at some point. But now that we're like ramping back up in the MCU and getting our newer heroes involved in shit, I kind of like him getting introduced here because the Darkhold and Wanda are probably still at play. You have more magic people on the rise. And after watching Agatha, we're like fully operating in that world now. And I think watching Agatha and Rio and Wanda's son, I now like Mephisto being involved instead of one or two magic people and Mephisto.
It would be nice to see some kind of like, and don't even just pick one individual character, but call it like dark magic or chaos magic or something like that. And it is Wanda, it's Billy, it's Agatha.
That's right.
It's any of the other witches that might be around. It's Mephisto. It's Death. Like, have one big spooky adventure.
I think we could be leading to something like that, for sure.
I do like the aura / like the energy
he was legit
that Sacha
menacing.
Baron Cohen is giving
Yeah.
off. I liked what he was giving off.
Great. He did it. He was everything and more than we wanted him to be. It is one of the best fan casting successes ever. He fucking crushed it.
Great success.
Great success. My sister number 4 not wizard. My sister number 4.
You're having a tough time getting through this.
You got it. You understood it. You know where I was getting.
He was Borat, guys. You have any more thoughts on this show?
I think if you haven't watched it and you sat through this, you probably won't watch it now that you've heard us talk about it. But if you, I still think it's worth watching. I think the build up to the Mephisto stuff is truly great. So for that reason alone, it's worth watching.
I guess I would say that if you just want the Mephisto stuff, if you just want the final episode, by the way, the final fight between Riri and the Cape wasn't very entertaining either. But
it wasn't great.
If you
he
you
also
are
looking
looking for the Mephisto
full vampire type of thing, that was weird. Yeah, there's a little Morbius stuff going on there.
Kitty got claws. But if you are looking just to watch the Mephisto stuff, all you need to know is that and they show this in the episode, the Hood makes a deal with Mephisto. Riri is dealing with the loss of her father-in-law, her best friend.
Her stepfather.
Stepfather. Did I say father-in-law earlier too?
I don't know. I don't know if you said it at all.
Fix it in post. Yeah. So her stepfather, her friend, the AI of her friend, her being kicked out of MIT, her life is kind of a mess.
There's a lot of obstacles and downs in her life.
Yes. She was not, Invent Help did not give her any money to make a new suit. Yeah. She kicked the nads of Obadiah Stane's son. So that's what you're looking at when you're getting to that final scene and why she might be desperate for help.
She needs a win.
But I do. So I think that you should at least watch that final episode and use what I just gave you as your flyleaf.
I'm so sick. So what you just said, I think alone puts it above She-Hulk, Moon Knight, Falcon and Winter Soldier.
But
Secret
you had
Invasion,
to get through
Echo.
5 episodes to get there. Like, okay.
Those other shows were longer than 6 episodes.
If you didn't tell me after the first 3 episodes, hey, there's something in this for you, and you got me a little excited. And then at the end of the 6th episode, you're like, you have to watch it. I'm not going to tell you who's in it. I knew who was in it at that point. If you didn't tell me that, I might have tapped out of this episode. I might not have watched this show.
I understand what you're saying, and that is an issue with this show. The marketing of the show, and just the character in general, because no one was stoked to see Ironheart because it's not a legacy character. And there's just no way around that. There's nothing I can
but you're also
say to fix
you're
that.
Introducing a character that might be huge after the next Avengers movies.
And I also think because of now Riri being full wild card, she might play a really interesting factor going forward.
But she was in a group of wild cards. Everyone can't be a wild card. You can't have 2 goons on a show.
I think there's a chance at the end of the show it's flipped and Parker and Zelma are on the right side and Riri's on the wrong side.
Let's get into Maxac. And Maxac could be anything. It could be a boat. And Mac, I think we need to add something. A while ago, we did a podcast called Things That Need to Be Retired in Movies.
Yep.
I forget the list.
Sure.
The other Billy D has it. We need to go back and add some more stuff to it. One that I think needs to be submitted, and this has to do a lot with legacy sequels, requels, reboots, everything else. This weekend, upcoming weekend, we are getting the sequel to I Know What You Did Last Summer, titled I Know What You Did Last Summer. We should no longer, and this should be against the law, have movies that are titled the same thing.
You got to put a Roman numeral. You got to put a number. You got to put a new word at the very least.
Put again at the end. I don't give a shit. Again. It happened again.
Still again.
How did this happen again?
Yeah, and not for nothing. because people are fucking dummies, Goo. If you're a relatively new person getting into movies and films, when you find 3 movies with the same name, looking at you, Halloween, it gets really confusing as to what to do.
I did understand why 1978 and 2007 Halloween had the same name. One is a reboot. So take the reboots out of what I just said. Reboots should have the same name because you're starting a new lineage of movies.
Yeah.
If the movies are in the same sequel series, franchise, lineage, you can't have them be named the same thing.
Yeah, you just can't do it.
Also, and I'm looking at you, Jaws, if you're going Jaws, Jaws 2, Jaws 3D, the fourth one, you need a 4 in there. It can't just be The Revenge.
Yeah, I guess that's true, too. If you're going to go numeric, stick with the numerics.
We might just need to do a full episode on how to title movies.
We need a new Mac v. Goo. That's what you're saying.
Also, so I was looking at the IMDb earlier for I Know What You Did Last Summer. Can you guess which one I was looking at?
Look at you with your eyes.
Can you guess which one?
I'm going to guess the new one.
It's a new one, 2025. Wow. That's a good guess.
For one.
The synopsis, the plot of this movie.
Oh, I forgot to read a synopsis for the show, now that you say that.
That doesn't matter. A group of friends are terrorized by a stalker who knows about a gruesome incident from their past. That's fucking copy and paste from 1997.
Well, maybe it's the same killer, Goo. I don't fucking know. We haven't watched the movie yet. I may actually go to the theaters because Jennifer Love Hewitt's involved, but other than like that, I'm 50-50 on it. I don't know. It's getting okay reviews so far. Yeah. Not on like Scream or Halloween levels, but I Know What You Did Last Summer was never on that level anyways, so that doesn't quite matter. Goo, Ironheart.
Oh my God,
teenage
what are you
inventor Riri Williams creates the most advanced suit of armor since Iron Man. That's the synopsis. That's a pretty bad synopsis.
And then after getting rejected by Shark Tank, she goes out for revenge.
Rejected
by Shark Tank. Mr. Fantastic said, no, thank you. Mark Cuban said, I like it, but I want 20%. Who else is on there?
Barbara. What's her name?
I used to love Shark Tank.
Yeah, same.
I have completely fallen off Shark Tank.
Yeah, A-Rod popped up in there first season, too.
You're right. Yeah, they went with a lot of... Kevin Hart was in a bunch of episodes. What the fuck is Kevin Hart going to invest in?
I don't think Cuban's on there anymore. Barbara Corcoran, that was her name. What's the guy that made Fubu? Damon, what's his name?
Damon, For You, By You.
Damon, the fuck's his name? And then the guy, Robert Herjavec or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Home Shopping Network lady, too. Forget her name.
I got scrub daddies in my house.
I'd give her a hug.
Come give me a hug. 50 Cent's 50 years old. He turned 50.
I guess that album came, what, in 03? 22 years ago? So it was 20.
You know what he should make a new album. You know what he should call it? 50 at 50. What's up?
If 50 Cent makes an album 50 at 50 with 50 songs, I will stop. I will stop the podcast. I'll be done.
50 cubed. Holy shit. And every song is 50 minutes long.
It's just like 45 skits and 5 songs on the album.
How do you feel about skits on albums?
It hasn't worked since like 2003. It was a time and place when it worked. It does not work anymore.
No, like that was big early on, especially showing off the comedic chops
it's great skits
of rappers and MCs.
Nellyville.
Yeah.
Nellyville has great skits.
The Marshall Mathers LP, memorable, not great.
Memorable is the word for it.
I remember almost all of them. Dr. Dre used to always do them too.
Yeah. It was definitely a calling card of a couple rappers. That is for sure.
All right, where can the people find us?
You can find us on X and Instagram at Mac and Goo Podcast. Every other platform we are Mac & Goo. It's Mac Shift 7 Goo. That includes Facebook, Stitcher, TuneIn, Castbox, Spreaker, Google Play, iHeartRadio. We're on Spotify. More importantly, we're on Apple Podcasts. Get on there, rate, review, subscribe, 5 stars. If you do that, we'll find a Mac and Goo t-shirt from the folks over at Watertown Sportswear. That's Watertown Sportswear, 34 Mount Auburn Street in Watertown. WatertownSportswear.com, expert screen printing and embroidery.
tpublic.com merch. I do want to give a shout out to the people that have been commenting more on the YouTube page. I love these comments. earlier, Tin Man 420. I guess he was smoking some
he really
doobies
likes
or something.
The approximate length of Ironheart, then.
Right. And we were talking in the episode about, because our other friend there who loves M3 2.0, I was talking about how much I enjoy him. And then this fella here said, I agree. The word needs to get out to movie lovers / Tim Robinson fans about the Mac and Goo podcast. It's my exact style. I tell plenty of people about it, but I guess not enough to gain traction. I used to have like 200 solid friends that I'd keep mentioning Mac and Goo to, but then I acted a wild man at a pool party, and now I barely talk to any friends. But Mac Goo and I have a great parasocial relationship, so it's all good.
You turned it into a Tim Robinson joke. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Here's a question for the M3gan guy. Do I need to watch the first M3gan to watch 2.0?
Hop in the comments down below and let us know.
Because I probably
will
will watch 2.0, but I doubt I'm going to watch the first one.
He's going to comment. He's going to let you know. I have faith in this. Actually, you know where he found us?
Where?
He said that he was driving through Massachusetts, and he heard us on the radio.
AM radio for the boys.
He heard us on WBZ News Radio 1030.
We got one.
Oh, I want to point this out. The station has been on the air, I think, 102 years now.
Wow, Jesus Christ.
And we have been, actually, I think when this is released, we have been on WBZ's airwaves for 6 years.
How about that? That's pretty good.
That's a good percentage of time.
I still, for the most part, forget that we are on actual radio. Every once in a while.
So now when you look at the bio of the station and the Radio Hall of Fame, we're a footnote.
We're officially in there because we're
That's right.
What's 6? Oh, I was going to say, what's 6 of 102? Probably just over 5%, or just over
somewhere around 5%,
just under 6%.
We're on for 38 minutes a week, but we're there.
We're there.
We're there.
Count it.
As long as the people upstairs have forgotten that we're on there, we're going to keep on being on there. All right, Tuesdays are Goose Days. I abuse kangaroos. It's Tim Burton.
Bye.
Please flip the cassette over to side B to continue the adventure.
Now it's time for girls jumping on trampolines.